James Kaufman, World News Report today, July 8th, 2025. God bless you and yours, no matter where you are in the world. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell for critical future updates. Rainmaker Corporation confirms cloud seeding over Central Texas less than 48 hours before flood. The CEO of a weather modification technology company, Rainmaker, www.rainmaker.com, has confirmed that cloud seeding operations took place in Texas less than 48 hours before the deadly Central Texas flood occurred. Augustus Dorico, the CEO of Rainmaker, a weather modification company, said that his planes had released silver iodide in the atmosphere in Texas less than 48 hours prior to the fatal floods that have claimed over 100 lives. The real problem is this type of activity was made illegal by the state of Texas about 2 years ago, and he refuses to disclose who his client was or who paid him to do this. Who would want to increase rainfall in this area knowing a strong front with heavy rains was headed in that exact direction? Of course, Doric claims the cloud seeding operations had nothing to do with the flooding in Texas.
Times you might have seen posts or videos connecting cloud seeding to what is happening in Texas. And then earlier tonight, the CEO of a weather modification company confirmed that planes in Texas did release silver iodide into the atmosphere 2 days before the floods. But he also explained why he says scientifically it does not mean that the two events are connected. Watch this.
We're talking about like sub-centimeter amounts of precipitation, be it in snow or rain from every event, which in aggregate can mean hundreds of acre feet, which is very consequential for farmers and ecosystems, but cannot come close to causing flooding unto itself.
And NBC News climate reporter Chase Kane joins us now. Chase, any conspiracy always starts with like a thread of truth here. Can you explain the science? Like, what is cloud seeding, first off, and how is it being used in Texas?
Yeah, so cloud seeding is really this idea for farmers of like, hey, there's some moisture up there in the clouds. Is there a way that we can get it out of the clouds down here to the surface to help farmers? Because water vapor that's in the air needs something to grab onto, which is often like smaller than the tip of a pen. So you're thinking like pollens, particles of pollen or dust or even air pollution. So you see this graphic here. Basically what they do is they fly planes up there to give the water vapor something to grab onto. So it's a combination of silver iodide and salt, actually. And so the water vapor forms around that. Eventually it gets heavy enough and then falls to the surface of rain. So when that happens, we're talking really small amounts of rain. In fact, scientists have been debating for decades whether or not this is actually very effective to do. So even when it does work, Gotti, we're not talking about a lot of rain, certainly not the amount of rain that they saw in Texas last week.
And the timing of it, 2 days before, I mean, you know, again, anybody online that seems to be an expert these days would say, well, no, this is what, you know, started the flood or possibly like supercharged the soil so it was hydrophobic. Like, well, take us through the timeline here.
Yeah, that's a really important point, Gotti, because this cloud seeding, it works within like 15 minutes, half an hour, maybe an hour, and then that's it. So that was done 2 days before. So the CEO saying this, other scientific research establishes that cloud seeding isn't going to trigger something like this, certainly not 2 days after they were doing it. They were only up in the air cloud seeding for about 20 minutes because, again, it's targeted to a pretty small area of land, which was not even over where the worst of this flooding was, Gotti. So we're talking 30 minutes to an hour, certainly not 2 days in advance.
And I mean, cloud seeding is human-caused climate change on a very micro level. But when we're talking about climate change on the macro level, does it look like this flood has any links?
And, of course, lamestream media wants to blame what? Climate change, which used to be global warming. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I think that the client should be forced to be disclosed, period. I see this young gentleman in front of Congress very, very soon. Please share our video, please subscribe, and always remember, anything's possible in Bizarro World.